Parents, you have to be the one to stand up for your kids, because some bureaucrat who orders something and just calls it public health without recognizing the impact that it might have on your children is not looking out for your kid. They too are politicizing this, and as parents, you should be the one to be standing up for your child's health. Nobody else is going to if you don't.
You see that the parents are almost evenly matched in those who say they're going to take their kids out of school if vaccines are mandated, along with the amount of parents who think schools should require vaccines. I mean, what do you make of that even split? I mean, do you think we're going to see a mass exodus then from public school?
Well, no, I actually don't think we will. Even though parents are saying that, I don't think they'll actually do it. There's a couple of important points there. Number one, it's very easy to get people to say things in a poll as opposed to actually taking the action of taking your kids out of school. But that's separate from the issue of whether or not these parents have a right to be extremely concerned enough to take their kids out. And I wish the parents who had these concerns would take their kids out if those are truly their concerns. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Let's talk about the numbers here, because the numbers tell a very important story. Just last week, the CDC updated the numbers from August to August of 2020 until August of 2021, the number of children who have actually died from COVID. Those numbers came back as 8. Not 80, not 800,000, not 80,000, just 8. Now, that's not to minimize the deaths of those children. It's terrible that those children died. But you don't force vaccines upon 73 million school-aged children because 8 children have died from COVID. Also, it's important to remember that COVID vaccines do not prevent the spread of COVID. They do not prevent you from either getting COVID, nor do they prevent you from spreading COVID. We know that now. And so the excuse that was used before, because we know that children are the least susceptible to COVID and the least susceptible to die from it, that the idea was, well, but they can still get it and spread it. Well, the fact is, if these kids are forced to be vaccinated, they can still get it and they can still spread it. And lastly, I'd say it's also important to remember that the CDC itself has recognized myocarditis and heart inflammation, especially in young children. So right now, there's no talk of exemptions from medical exemptions or religious exemptions. It's a one-size-fits-all, and forcing every child to get a vaccine for a virus that, again, only 8 children have died from in a year seems to be taking it way too far. And obviously, as you mentioned, we've been homeschooling for a long time. It's not COVID related. But I do think it's important, when we're talking about public health, and Desi made a great point. She said it's been heavily politicized. I totally agree with her on that. She says there's a public health issue here. I totally agree with that. But public health is more than just COVID. Quite frankly, I mean, we're talking about public health. A German study shows that 70% of kids who were forced to wear masks at school had severe side effects from that, either physical or emotional side effects. That German study shows that children who were wearing a mask for more than 3 minutes had a much higher level of carbon dioxide in their system than is considered acceptable.